You are now listening to Let's Talk with Edigga podcast. Now, get ready to join today's conversation of topics with your host, Edigga.
Good, everybody. It's the man you all know and love, Edigga. That's right. Hey, welcome to another exciting. What is good? What is good? What is good? Good people. That's right. That's right. Welcome to another great episode of Let's Talk with Edigga, live in the studios of Charm City Direct TV, right here in the heart of Baltimore. That's right. If you are watching on YouTube, you know my fashion. You know what I'm about to ask you. I'm about to ask you for a favor. And you know what that favor is. You don't even need to ask me. I need you to subscribe to the channel. That's right. Now, if you're listening right now on WLEO 26.7 online radio, I want to say thank you. But here go them favors again. I need you to go to Google Play, Apple App Store, or iTunes and download that free, yes, I said free app, free 99 of WLEO Radio to hear all great music, great shows, great content, the whole 9 yards. That's right. Hey, good people, you know me, of course. Got a guest coming on. And before I bring this guest on, I want you to hear some dope music. I love music, and I'm almost certain if I could speak for everybody that's listening and watching, you like dope music too. So, I'm about to play this preview. It's not the whole video. I'll give you a little teaser. I'm a little, kind of treat your eardrums to some good music for my special guest tonight. So, watch this and I'll be right back.
Do you even know if I'm even around? Let's go down. Do you even know if I'm even around? And I have found lies to make me blind, and I'm losing my mind. And let's go. Nobody seems to notice there's no fire within. I'm alone crying again. This where the pain resides. Reflections of all my sins, and there's no hiding from him. It's me that I'm facing, racing regrets that I'll never catch. Separate from space and time in some places I'll never get. On this search it seems like I'm lost.
That's right, good people. My special guest, he is here. My special guest, music artist Blakk. I'm going to bring him on right now. How are you today, good sir?
Edigga, I'm great, man. How you doing, brother?
I am blessed. I am good. I'm doing good. First and foremost, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, bro.
Anytime. I love good music. And that Good People was dope song. Lights Go Down featuring Jock La Diosa.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yes, sir. You got it.
Awesome singer. Love her sound. Love her sound. Man, what can I say, man? That great. I love good music, and most importantly, I love good video quality.
Yeah.
Love great video quality. Where was that shot at?
Well, it was actually directed by a guy named Logan Kingston. Shout out to him. He's a dope producer out of Cleveland.
Okay.
It was shot at my uncle's manager's actually recording studio. I'm not sure the name of it because I don't think he actually uses it as a recording studio. It's more like just like a podcasting space. But my uncle had shot a video there with his band maybe like a month or so prior to me shooting that video, and I was just kind of on hand, just kind of like helping out with the video shoot and everything. And I just recognized the space as being something that would work for the idea that I have for the visual for Lights Go Down as well. So I wrote up the treatment. Like I said, Logan Kingston shot the video, and it just came out super dope. Can't wait for the full thing. It's dropping February 8th.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Love it. Absolutely love it. Now, your name, whole name, Geronimo Blakk.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
But you cut it off like G Black.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I'm a fan of logos and names. I love a unique logo. I love a unique name. By the way, I love the logo.
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
And also I love the name. Where did you get the name from? How did you come to get your name?
You know, that's interesting. Nobody ever asked me that question. So I started rapping when I was about 15 or so. Okay. And back then I just went by, my government name or whatever, my last name. And all my friends always had like cool like rap names or whatever. So I was always like trying to like rack my brain and like find like the perfect name. And so I would say maybe about probably about maybe like 2006, I kind of branched off and started doing my own like solo work. And at that point I realized, it's kind of time for me to carve out my own identity. So the music that I was making around that time was not to say politically driven, but it was definitely a lot more socially conscious than the work that me and my friends had done, because we was just rapping about bullshit back then.
Right.
Pardon me. So I was real heavy into like socially conscious music. The album that I was working on at the time was real influenced by like the work of the Black Panthers. And so I was real heavy into to reading up the history of Black Panthers and things like that. So one thing that I found out, because I came from, not to say like a militant household, but my mom was always very she always gave us the information that we needed to know as Black men, as Black people in America. So one thing that I had never known was that the Black Panthers name actually derived from the fact that panthers are defensive animals and they don't attack until they're attacked. And that always like piqued my interest once I found that out. And so the Minister of Defense of the Black Panthers' name was Geronimo Pratt. He was also Tupac's godfather. And Tupac being like a heavy influence musically, I mean, anybody around our age, I feel like growing up. Right. And, just the idea and ideals that I was instilling in my music at the time, I wanted to represent that revolutionary aspect, but also, pay homage to those that came before. So Geronimo Blakk is kind of just playing off of the name Geronimo Pratt. And I decided to go with 2 Ks as opposed to CK, because I wanted to differentiate the name from the idea or the color of blackness. Just kind of emphasize that I am at the same time as representing Black people, so-called Black people anyway. I'm also trying to emphasize the fact that you're just harkening back to what I just said, we're so-called Black people, we're not actually that name. So, again, so just kind of like playing off of that, but basically it's derived from Geronimo Pratt and the Black Panthers.
That's what's up. I love that, how you put a lot of thought into your name, as opposed to, some artists who just, Lil this or YBS that. And,
right.
And every time when I look at that, I'm like, did you even put any thought process into that? All that you said make perfect sense, the breakdown of it and you wanted to take intricate pieces from, you know, that and put it into your name. So I commend you for that, man. Definitely. What separates your music from others?
You know, what's crazy is, to be honest, I'm at a point in my career now where the music I'm making now, because I'm actually working on my 10th album.
Wow.
So the music that I'm making now is actually it's kind of separating itself from my previous work. Just to say that it's growing and getting better, and it's kind of changing. But just overall, I think the thing that differentiates me from other artists is you know, I'm not only willing to put my mind into the music, but I'm willing to put my heart into it also. And I think that's something that, especially in rap, is missing. So unfortunately, that I feel like that's what separates me. You know, the fact that, like you were referencing, I put a lot of thought into my name. My music is the same thing, as well as the fact that, you know, emotionally, I put a lot of my feelings and my heart into my music. So, you know, those are things that I feel like really separate me.
Right. Wow. And speaking of music, of course, what are your thoughts about today's music? When you listen to today's music, hip hop mostly, what are your thoughts?
You know, it's crazy. It might be a hot take, and people who know me probably would be surprised to hear me say it, but particularly in rap, I think rap is actually better than it's ever been. And I won't say that. I think the artist's skill sets are better than they've ever been.
Okay.
Meaning, I think when you go from, you know, the quote unquote golden age of hip hop, obviously lyricism was at the forefront.
Right.
But then you run into a situation. Let's use Nas as an example, because we've seen his career transition over, you know, 3 decades at this point.
Right.
So, you know, obviously he came in with the golden age of hip hop sound or whatever, and excelled to, you know, top 5, top 3, top 1 in my opinion. But you know, then you transition into the late 90s where things got a little, for lack of a better term, more shiny, the bling era, as it were. And that's kind of where you start to see him taper off a little bit in terms of popularity. And then the whole Jay-Z thing happened, obviously. So point being is that I think that Nas being a premier lyricist, we got to see him transition through all these different eras. And it got to the point to where, I want to say like 06, he did the album Hip Hop Is Dead, to the point to where kind of emphasizing that the things that he came from weren't as prevalent as they were anymore. And I think when hip hop really changed, I actually can pinpoint the date. It was September 11th, 2007.
Wow.
It was 50 Cent versus Kanye West, Curtis versus Graduation. I think that thing was more representative of the shift that was about to occur in hip hop, because 50 Cent coming off of that behemoth first album, and then the second album going into the third one, and then Kanye actually going into his third album as well, but being on the opposite end of the spectrum, being the guy with the pink polo, the guy that was the producer turned rapper, you know. So it's all these different elements at play, and then they clash and come to a head, and Graduation kills Curtis. It demolishes. I want to say it was like 300,000 difference or something like that. But point being is that Kanye overcame 50 Cent when nobody thought that he could, because hip hop traditionally was like, it was gangster, it was hard, it was aggressive, all the things that 50 represented. Whereas Kanye was coming with the bright colors. That's the album that Stronger was the single. So it's like you got Daft Punk and all these electronic sounds that's not really hip hop as much.
Right.
So, you know, that thing happens, and then coming off of that, you get 808s and Heartbreak, and obviously, in my opinion, that kind of birthed the sound, which birthed the career of Drake, who's arguably one of the biggest artists in the world right now.
Right.
And then you get to 808s, and that's where like the melodies and the auto-tune, and around that time is when Lil Wayne was doing like the auto-tune stuff too. So all these different elements factoring in and being poured into the pot that is hip hop, I think it caused the artists to have to diversify their skill sets. And initially, the early 2010s, we went through like a weird time with music. Everything sounded all strange or whatever. But I think when you get to like 2014, 2015, To Pimp a Butterfly, somewhere around there, then we really get to see what happens on the other end of that. Because now you have artists that are a lot more experimental, because it's a lot more tools to play with. Right. So Then you get to like people like artists like the Migos, and people may not be a fan of like their music or whatever, but if you just sit down and listen to it, and because I'm a student of the game, so I respect everybody across the board, even if it's something that I don't necessarily like. But so just listening to like the Migos, like their flow, the intricacies of their deliveries, like they're very reminiscent of Bone Thugs and Harmony, in my opinion.
Right.
And so just saying all that to say that I think that there's a lot of different elements at play in hip hop now that you have to be able to master the craft, and in doing so, it broadens the skill set of the artist. So basically, just a long way of saying I think artists now are a lot better than they ever were. So the music may not be in the best place it's ever been, but it's definitely headed in a much better direction than it's currently in.
That's what's up. Love that.
I apologize. I get long-winded sometimes,
no,
bro.
You're fine. You're fine. You're fine. You mentioned Tupac earlier. Who are some of your biggest influences?
Well, I can break it down like this. My first favorite rapper was Ice Cube. I don't think he made me want to rap, but he made me pay attention to rap. Okay. The very first rapper that made me want to rap was actually Nas. That Nas song "Made You Look," as a matter of fact, specifically. As soon as that shotgun went off and that beat dropped, it was, man, I was never the same after that. But then in 2006, when Lupe Fiasco dropped "Food and Liquor," and I heard track 10, "The Cool," and bro dug himself up out of a grave with the gold chain that the people that killed him tried to rob him for, that's when I realized that Nas made me want to rap, but Lupe taught me how to rap, because I didn't know how to rap before that. So I would say those three: Ice Cube, Nas, and Lupe Fiasco.
Right. Wow, that's awesome. Love it. And what was some of the in doing music as an artist? What were some of the obstacles you faced while doing your music, getting your music out there, performing your music? What were some of those obstacles that you had to jump over?
I think probably the biggest one is it's an obstacle that I think all artists struggle with, and I'm still struggling with, and that's just kind of getting people to connect with the music.
Right.
Me and my best friend, who's one of my managers, we actually have this theory, I suppose, that typically when anybody hears the music, they like it. And that's not to be arrogant or sound narcissistic at all, but just to say that I really believe in the product and we've tested it. But I think that the issue is kind of getting it in front of people to make the connection, because like I said, I'm going on my 10th album, so I have a lot of diversity in the music. People typically put me in like the conscious rapper box, because as somebody, really not even as a black man, but just as a human being, I look around and see things wrong, and I want to discuss those things. But you know, I just think I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. Where's I at with that? I'm sorry, what was the question?
The question was what were some of the obstacles?
Oh, okay, there we go. So, my apologies. Yeah, so just like I said, just trying to make the connection with people and trying to get people to recognize and understand that, you know, these ideas that may seem abstract on their face are actually things that are really relatable. And I think once people sit down with the music, they'll enjoy it and get that point. But just kind of getting people to sit down with the music is the biggest obstacle that I think any of us face.
What's up? That's what's up. Now, this is a what if question, and God forbid that someone said or a situation happened where you couldn't do music no more. What would your path or career path be outside of music? You can't do music no more. What is something else that you think you'll probably be doing other than music?
Well, honestly, even more so than being an artist, a rapper, as it were, I more so think that I'm a writer, honestly. My strongest skill set isn't necessarily even performing the work. It's actually the writing of the work. So I think that if it wasn't music, then I'd probably be doing screenplays. I'm actually moving to LA later on this year, and that's another reason I'm moving out there. I have a couple different screenplays that I've written. A couple I'm working on. I have a graphic novel that me and my brother, he illustrated because he actually is a graphic artist, and I wrote the script for it and everything. So yeah, it definitely probably be something along the lines of like writing screenplays, something like that.
Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome. Now we're gonna go to a quick break. We're gonna come back, and the question I have for you is: name some artists that you would love to work with, either local or mainstream. But we're going to go to a break. Coming back, get a chance to answer that question. Good people, if you're still watching, thank you for watching on YouTube at Charm City Direct TV. If you're listening right now on WLEO Radio, I appreciate you. But like I said, you got to do me some favors. You just can't watch and listen for nothing. You got to do me some favors. You got to subscribe on YouTube, and you got to download the free, yes, I said free app on Google Play, Apple App Store, and iTunes. WLEO 26.7 online radio, worldwide listening, entertainment online. Hey, don't go nowhere. Much more to come.
Hey, this is your bro, K-Life. I've been here, man, at My Spot Barbershop, 2016 Bel Air Road, over 20 years, bro, and I'm still kicking. Come up here, man. You know I put the sights up on you, and I'm definitely never hard to find. You can reach me at 410-878-5033. Get at me, man, and I guarantee you I put in work. Peace.
Tell me what you see when you're looking at me. A pretty face? Huh? You think that's all I can be? Tell me what you see when you're looking at me. Because I strive to be all I can be. Because you know what? I found her. I found me.
She's here. She's live. She is Vet Green, host of Think and Grow with Vet Green. Watch her live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Facebook at Vet Green. Also watch her live on Charm City Direct TV on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. You don't want to miss this dynamic show. A show of encouragement, inspiration, motivation, and so much more. So get ready for Think and Grow with Vet Green. That's right, good people. Think and Grow with Vet Green every Tuesday, every Tuesday, every Tuesday, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on Charm City Direct TV. Make sure you check us out on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch at Charm City Direct TV. Good people, if you're still here, if you're still watching, if you're coming in, trying to sneak in, we are talking to music artist, my man, Blakk. And we are talking about, of course, music. And the question that I had before the break was, name some artists that you would love to work with and why, either local or mainstream.
I actually have like a dream track that I would love to put together. And it would be me featuring one of my favorite MCs, Jay Electronica. With a chorus by probably my favorite singer, Erykah Badu.
Wow. Whoa.
Over production by Kanye West.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, that track would be nice.
I have interviewed a lot of people, Blakk, but I have never heard that type of a question, the answer that use some heavy hitters like that, man.
I've been visualizing this track, man. I'm gonna manifest it. It's gonna happen.
Yes. Speaking into the universe, man, for real. That is dope. I would love to hear that. You name some heavy hitters. Wow. Now we come to that part of the show that asks the trending topic. And we talked about Kanye West. Kanye West at one point, he had his head on the swivel. He was doing good, but then something happened. Don't know what. So the trending topic question is Kanye West not getting over Kim Kardashian. For those who've been living under a rock, Kim Kardashian was his wife at one time, got a divorce, but Kanye can't let her go. What are your thoughts?
I'm conflicted. Which is kind of typical Kanye. It leaves you conflicted. So it's like I recently went through a divorce myself. I was married for 10 years. I got divorced last April.
Wow.
So as a man with a family, I respect him for trying to fight for his family.
Right.
I recognize that it may not be a case of him not being able to get over her, but more so him not being able to get past that chapter of his life where his family was a nuclear family. So right. I recognize that, but on the flip side of it, as a Kanye fan, I'll preface it by saying that I've loved every Kanye album, including the one that everybody hates, Jesus King. I love every Kanye album.
Okay.
I don't necessarily always agree with everything Kanye says, but I do recognize at the core of him as a person, he is somebody who does want to do good. So I give him that credit. Right. But again, on the flip side, as a Kanye fan, his music is just so much better when he's not with her. I'm not mad in that regard that they're not together anymore, because I know what the music is about to be crazy.
Right.
In a good way. But again, though, I'm conflicted because, again, as a man that's going through the same thing, I recognize that he's trying to, pull his family back together. So I get it in that regard.
I'm like you. A part of me understands and a part of me don't. And pretty much what I see, of course, is on TV. I would never get the whole inside story.
Right.
And you're right. His music sounds better when something is going on. When his mom died, when his mom passed away, I'm sorry. But when his mom passed away, total different Kanye. I think the world saw the dark Kanye.
Yeah.
Music was way different. And when he got with Kim, married Kim, again, music was different. We got the whole church vibe, the Sunday service vibe, and things of that nature. Now, I'm not a 100% Kanye fan. I think I was a bigger fan in College Dropout back in that day.
Right.
To present day, it was a little crazy for me. I couldn't get into it.
Right.
I'm sorry, but you're right. As I look at it now and what you just said, the music kind of changed with the situation. But I'm also, like I said, I understand. I just can't get over the antics. He's outside and filming her and buying a house across the street from her, and I understand it. You've been in a relationship for so long, you have kids involved. When is that little voice inside of you going to say, leave it alone, or take a different approach to see your kids? You see what I'm saying? I'm looking at career, that one day that he decides to do something off the rocker, he get locked up. I'm just saying. Or worse, that somebody, God forbid, brings harm to him or something like that because he chose to do that further step to see his child. Granted,
right,
as a father, I understand, but also, and I know I'm gonna sound like a punk when I say this, but I understand my boundaries,
Right.
or I understand that if I push it or force it, something may happen to me. Nothing is going to happen to her or the kids, but something is going to definitely happen to me. You know, that's where I'm at right now, you know. And there is a different way to get around it, you know.
Yeah.
So that's where Kanye kind of lost me at right there, you know, the antics, you know.
Yeah, no, I definitely get that. I think that one thing about Kanye that's I've always found interesting in terms of how people view him is the word you use, antics, for instance. I think that's a word that we can use to describe some of his activity over the past couple decades. So I think when we get into his antics, whether it's the Taylor Swift incident, which as rude as it was, he was not wrong, bro. Like nobody knew who Taylor Swift was that night. I had no idea who Taylor. I thought she was from American Idol, to be honest with you. But point being is that whether it's that incident, whether it's situation with him buying the house across the street from his kids, I think that, or across from Kim, I think it's a matter of we look at it through a critical lens when it's something that isn't necessarily beneficial to us.
Right.
But when he gets on TV next to Mike Myers and says George Bush don't care about black people, everybody loved that. As reckless and ridiculous as it was in the moment, because that situation, granted, was around Hurricane Katrina, had nothing to do directly with George W. Bush. Basically same thing as with Taylor Swift. It wasn't the right time or place to even say that. But again, we disregard that because it was in our interest, because he was speaking up on our behalf. So it's always been interesting to me, because it's kind of like we don't even play fair when it comes to him. We take everything that he does that benefits us, and we'll take that. But then when it's something that kind of causes friction, then it's kind of like it's an antic now, or he's on a rant, or he's ramped up, or whatever the case may be. So I definitely don't think that he gets the short end of the stick sometimes, but he definitely set himself up for it also. So again, it balances out.
Right. I mean, I look at Kanye, great artist, great producer. If he wasn't, then I think I wouldn't care less.
Right.
I'm just looking at his well-being.
Yeah.
And some of the stuff that I look at that he does, it's like, wow. But then I fall back and I say, well, who am I? Because at the end of the day, who am I? To say what he can and can't do. Grown man. And I'm taking celebrity out of it. Grown man, you could do whatever the hell you want to do.
Yeah.
I think I'm concerned because I place myself in that predicament, and I'm looking at parent now. Sometimes I place myself in these situations and say, what would happen to me if I did that?
Right.
It no shadow of the doubt. I'm up the hill in handcuffs in the back of the police car. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So, but I just wish the best for him, and I just hope that think think for a second. Career.
It kind of also, in my opinion, and pardon me, I mean to cut you off, but I think that a lot of times when these situations happen, you can tell who's around him. Just speaking of what you're talking about, like his well-being. And I'm not sure if you're familiar or if you know or not, but I'm actually working with 88 Keys on my new album, and we're actually doing a project together. And him and 88 are like best friends. So just to say that I know for a fact that now he has people around him that are people that care about him. Whether it's talking to 88 or whether it's listening to interviews he's been doing recently, I definitely can tell that he has family around again. He did an interview on Hollywood Unlocked about a week or so ago, and he made reference to the fact that his cousins were meeting with Kim. So he has literally like his close family back around him again, and I think that that's something that even down to like when he does interviews when he's on medication versus when he's off medication, you kind of can tell in the level of clarity of thought. And just based on that Hollywood Unlocked video, you can definitely tell that whether he's on or off, he's even keeled at this point. He's not in a ramped up state. So I think that, in terms of his well-being, just having his family and the people that care about him, and actually love him as opposed to love him for what he can provide for them. I think that he has good people around him now. So even if his well-being isn't in the best place now, he has the support system in place to help him as opposed to maybe 5 or so years ago.
That's what's up. Yeah. Upcoming projects. What you got coming out?
Man, so I'm really excited because like I was saying before, I'm going in the studio right now. I'm working on my 10th album, and it's actually a direct sequel to my 7th album. It's called The Soundtrack Volume 2, The Book of Black. And the first soundtrack, it actually took me 10 years to make it. It was supposed to be my first project, but like I said, it ended up being number 7. So I ended up doing work in between there, but I was working on that project the whole time. But so this next soundtrack that I'm working on, I was thinking that it would take me, another 10 years or so to make another one, because it's like a tentpole. Like, so basically the way my projects are broken down, like I have 4 albums called Track Season, and 3 of those led up to the first soundtrack, and basically just kind of like precursors. So with this new one, it's kind of like this one is like so much better in terms of like the songwriting, the musicality, everything. Even again, like I was saying, 88 Keys is doing some production on it, so even like the level of talent that I'm working with on this project is just so much better. But I like I was telling you before, I went through a divorce last year, and I've just had so much life going on that what I thought would take me another 10 years to make, I was actually able to do, in about a year and a half or so. So yeah, the soundtrack volume 2 is what I'm working on now. The first single, Lights Go Down, Reprise, is the preview for the visual that we played earlier. Again, that full visual is dropping February 8th. But yeah, man, I'm just really excited. Like I said, 88 Keys is doing some production on it, and then me and him are actually doing a whole project together. So it's a really exciting time.
That's what's up. Love that. Wow. And the video for Lights Go Down, when is that dropping?
February 8th.
February 8th. Great. Where can people find you on social media?
Man, you can find me on all DSPs, streaming platforms, gdashblakk, Black with 2 Ks, no C. You can catch me on Instagram, Twitter as _Blakk. Again, that's BLAKK. Facebook, Geronimo Blakk. All my videos, everything is on YouTube. Man, let me see where else we got. Yeah, that's about it. Honestly, hit me up on any of those platforms. I can link you to anywhere you want to go, whether that's music videos or whatever. Tap in.
That's what's up. Hey, man, again, I want to say thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me, bro. I appreciate you opening up the platform. And I was telling DC the other day, man, we definitely have to start utilizing these platforms to help each other, whether it's shed light on each other's projects or even just to, offer just a safe space to have a conversation. So, I definitely appreciate it. Since we had linked up or whatever, I went back and watched a couple of the shows, man. I love what you're doing with it. And again, just thank you for opening up the platform for me, bro.
Not a problem. Anytime, man. The doors are wide open. Anytime that you got a project you want to release or talk about something, hey, man, doors right here is always open. And I don't say that to everybody.
Well, I appreciate that, bro. Thank you.
Not a problem. Hey, everybody, this has been another great episode of Let's Talk with Edigga podcast. Hey, do me a favor. Make sure you like, subscribe, sharing, following everything Charm City Direct TV. Also, make sure you checking out WLEO 26.7 online radio. Go get the link, get the app. It is free. Go to Google Play, Apple App Store, and iTunes. Download that app. Take it with you. Take it with you on the go. And you'll be able to hear this broadcast in its entirety by going to Anchor at Let's Talk with Edigga Podcast, Radio Public, and Spotify. Hey, I've been your host, the man that you all know and love, Edigga. Our special guest, my man, G Black. Hey, I holler at you when I smile at you. Peace.
Peace.
Thank you for watching another great live broadcast on Charm City Direct TV. Make sure you head on over to YouTube, Facebook Live, and Twitter for more great content on Charm City Direct TV. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, follow everything Charm City Direct TV.